in the same vein as we started off with our log, we're going to do some movement-based stuff now to increase heart rate, to get the blood flowing around your system so that you're prepared for when you start to move into your deadlift. So the first thing we're going to do, now we're doing this as both a pulse raiser, but also as a means to open up the hips, open up the pelvis, open up the lower back. So we're going to do some walking lunges. So starting back in position, you're going to take a nice big step forwards, you're going to drop down, we're going to try and keep our torso. So basically we're thinking about keeping the rib cage down, pushing forward from the hips, and then back into your starting position. Big step forwards, drop down, torso down, hip forwards, open up the front of the hip, back into your starting position. Now you're going to do that, I'd probably say depending on the area that you're working in, you want to probably do 10 walking lunges, so 5 on the right, 5 on the left. Take a breather, let some of the accumulated fatigue ease, and then do another set of 10 steps. If you've got less sort of room to do it than I've got here, then what I'd suggest you do is you just do it statically. So step forwards on the right leg, drop into your bottom position, push forward from the hips, open up those hip flexors, making sure you're keeping our trunk down, our rib cage down, so we're not overextending the back. And again, do 5 on the left and 5 on the right. So that's piece number 1. That's either your walking or your static lunges. Right, so number 2, piece number 2, these are your monster walks. Now, hip stability is reliant upon your adductor muscles on the inside of your thighs and your abductor muscles on the outside of the thighs. And what you'll often see when people hip shift, so as you're pulling away from the floor, you start to get a little bit of a shift to one side, or you're squatting, you're getting the same sort of things. That can be down to weakness in the abductors and adductors. Or if your knees start to collapse in, again, that can be weakness in the abductor muscles. So this is an exercise designed to strengthen those muscles up. This is an exercise designed to activate them. So when you get into your position, you get onto your bar, you're basically using those muscles effectively because they've all been switched on. So sideways on, this is a hip circle. You can buy these from, I think Gunsmith Fitness sell them. They certainly sell bands, I think they're called mobility bands from Gunsmith Fitness. If you quote MOFO15, you'll get a 15% discount on your mobility bands. Right, so from here, we're going to take a big step to the side, and then we're going to drop down into a squat, back up. Big step to the side, drop down into a squat, and then back up. Big step to the side, drop down into a squat, and then back up. And once you've done 5 to 8 steps to the left-hand side, you're going to do 5 to 8 steps to the right-hand side. And that's going to be done for 2 sets. And by the time you've done that, your hips should be on fire. The hips are on fire. Right, so piece number 3. These are your assisted hip airplanes. Now we've done hip airplanes before. I might have shown you the unassisted version, which relies more on balance. This one you can actually focus on what's going on around in terms of the hip and pelvis. So I think this is a better option because you can actually focus on what you're supposed to be doing rather than thinking about your balance as you're moving from right side of the pelvis to left side of the pelvis. So you can set yourself up on the squat rack, put your bar down. You're looking for just above hip height. So I'm going to use this single leg curl, this standing leg curl, but you can equally set your bar up. So again, making sure that your pins means the bars are just above hip height. I think that's just above hip height. So into position. The front leg is the leg that I'm working on. Slight bend in the knee, and we're going to make sure that knee tracks over the toes. So as you turn into one side or the other side, we're going to try and avoid the temptation for the knee to drop either inside or outside. So slight bend, body's at about 45 degrees, my rear leg is in line with my body, and I'm using my hands on here to basically assist me as I move from left side to right side. So from there, we're going to turn our pelvis to face towards you, knee stays over the toe, and we're going to turn back, and I'm going to turn my pelvis to face away from you, and then back, and then face towards you, and back, and then face away, and back. Now, 6 to 8 repetitions on that, if done slowly and with control, should make you feel like your hip is on fire. The muscles on the inside and outside have been primed and fired up. Swap over onto the other side, 6 to 8 on there, and do that for a total of 2 sets. Right, so you might have noticed I've put a jumper on. That's because I'm going to be crawling around on the floor in a minute. So as this is part of your warm-up, you're already going to be probably wearing hoodies and jumpers and stuff. So leave those on, because what you'll find this next movement will tend to do is it'll give you some carpet burns, and that's not a good place to be. So this is a commando crawl. Now I really like crawling from an upper body activation and mobility perspective, and I particularly like the commando crawl because as my right arm's coming forwards, my left leg is coming out to the side. So you're getting lots of rotation through the thoracic spine, through the lumbar spine, which not only means your back's warmed up, it means all those little muscles around there, you know, multifidus, rotatories, semispinalis. This is the deep layer of muscles in your back. All those muscles have been activated and warmed up. So your spinal stiffness should be much better. And also because we're dragging ourselves forwards on our arms, you're going to find that you're activating your lats, serratus, all those muscles that we're going to rely on when we're going to come into our neural lat exercises. So line onto the floor. I'm not going to do this too far because you're going to lose me from a camera perspective. So we're going to start by bringing the right arm forwards, left leg comes out to the side. Do you want to move around, Dan, so they can just see that position? Yeah. And then we push off from there, and we repeat the same process on the other side. So as you're moving forwards, you're transitioning into the other movement. Okay, so that's a commando crawl. Find a space that's long enough. I would spend about 30 seconds crawling forwards. You can then try crawling backwards, same coordination. So right arm, left leg, left arm, right leg, and do that for around about 2 minutes before you actually start to move into your specific exercises as far as your deadlift's concerned. Now, you might get some funny looks in the gym once the gyms are back open, but trust me when I tell you this, your back, your scapula and your deadlift is going to thank you for it.